Welcome to Captive Conversations. I'm your host, Adam from Captive Wi-Fi. Join us as we dive into behind-the-scenes stories of hospitality leaders exploring tech, operations, and marketing through the eyes of the experts. Let's get the inside scoop together. Everyone, say hello, William. This is you can wave to everyone to give them a real wave and do a virtual wave. This is episode 13, and I am absolutely honoured and clacking my pants because we have William Connors from Noble Group, head of global IT, I guess, right? Because
sounds good.
Yeah, it's good. And it's going to be a really awesome conversation, and I'm really excited because I've worked with William for a little bit now, and we've met at events, which is also cool, and we have good synergy, and we're going to listen to his story and stuff because it's awesome stuff. I have heard from another podcast, hi Sean, that was little snippets, so we'll hear from you as well. So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to my office. Keep the mic here if you can. That would be great. And we'll have some fun. So I'm going to do a little intro, and I'm going to do a bit of dad dancing. So feel free to bop along if you like. That people obviously who are listening won't see us, but I quite like doing it. So I'm going to do a little bit of the intro music. There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's good, right? Okay, that's all you get. Okay, thank you so much for coming. This is episode 13. I don't know how I'm doing it, but it's great. So we're going to start with the question from the last guest. And the last guest was someone who you know, Christian from Tenzo. Hi, Christian. That was an awesome pod. Really great questions, and his story is awesome as well. So he obviously used to be an operator, and there's some really cool stuff. So we learned. But he said his two questions for you were, here we go. What would you want to be when you grew up as a child?
I originally wanted to be a sports athlete, and eventually that kind of dawned on me that it's not going to happen. So what I after wanted to do was be a writer, and I still want to be a writer because I think it would be a great profession. But in the meantime, I got into IT and am loving that.
Awesome. I wish I could be a writer. I think AI will be my writer. So I want to pop into ChatGPT. Give me an idea, and then I probably expand from there. But I'm a bit creative. Okay, so next question is, and this is a biggie. Who do you think is the most thought-provoking person in the hospitality industry?
I guess of all time, I'd have to say Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc is the founder of McDonald's, and the key thing that they did was they introduced standardization for restaurants. So without the standardization, you wouldn't have turnkey restaurants, you wouldn't have franchising, you wouldn't have mass appeal, and it would be a very different environment today without McDonald's and fast food. But also, too, that would be the first group that introduced technology like kitchen screens and order display and drive-through and mobile ordering. All of that is pulled back to McDonald's and what spawned from McDonald's. So that's probably who I would say is the most thought-provoking person it had. They also, the same group also installed food standards as well. They've just impacted the entire business.
That's amazing. I didn't know that they were the first with kitchen display. Were they the first people doing kitchen display?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, that's it though.
That's just one piece, right?
They started looking at food from being a service area to being a food production area, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, how can we set up the entire restaurant in such a way that we can produce quality, consistent product in a very cheap fashion, in a way that everyone will easily understand, and that you can train people to do things and then replicate that thousands of times. It's very important.
I agree, and fundamental, right? I mean, it's KDS now is just a given, I guess, in multiple businesses. We actually had Stephen Rolfe from Curve Point One, and we talked about his company were the first people in the UK before McDonald's came here to have kiosks.
Yeah.
So, and we talked about that journey because they built that tech just for them. and trying to get the growth of that out into others was really difficult for them because they built it specific for that customer.
Wow.
And we had a joint customer, and we had errors on the kiosk, and the errors would say tossed error. So they couldn't do it, but it was an awesome tool. Okay. So we start with a few questions first, which is just general questions, and then we'll go into a deep dive. So the first question are the generic questions. One of them is best hospitality tech.
Oh, well,
That's a tricky one.
I spoke with a company this morning called Solink, which I'm very excited about. What it is they integrate with our EPOS system, which is Toast. And what it does is every touch that's on the till is recorded, and then it's easily pulled up when you need it. So all of a sudden you say how many discounts were done, and it'll just pull it up, and then you can actually see who did it. Or you can also use the same product to say, okay, who left the freezer door open? And all of a sudden, if the door has been open for 15 minutes, it'll send an alert saying, so-and-so left the door open, and then please alert the manager to close it. Or who's been sitting in the office all day. It'll basically see you, and then basically if you're inactive for 2 hours in the office and not checking the restaurant floor, it'll be like, Adam, will you please get out and check the restaurant? So for me, I look at that and say, I can see so many ways to return investment on that, and it's exciting technology.
It's mental. We talked about a few others that I know of, but that's taking it to the next level. I remember back in the day, Radiant Technologies with Centegra, they had an integration for the CCTV. So you'd have 4 or 5 cameras above the till, and every transaction rung up the amount on the till. But you had all these cables wired in because everything had to be connected at one point. But it was a clever idea at that point. So you could see, one, obviously, if anyone's stealing, but 2, every transaction of the amount. But that's taking it to the next level. Are they doing doing a bit of AI stuff where you can actually type in what happened here and then, and just translating that into a command, It's not really AI, but it's more over taking natural words into finding the resource.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the user interface is really, really easy to understand. And yeah, you do basically ask questions and it'll pull up the information. But the key thing is you use your existing CTV program and stuff. You don't have cameras all over the place.
Amazing.
You don't want to stress out your team, But the thing is you get a beautiful, rich insight without having in-your-face technology that ruins the guest experience.
And I guess you could choose which levels you want. If you want enhanced, top boss level version, where you've sat down for 5 minutes, get up, or you could just have a soft touch.
Yeah.
So and there's a mobile app as well, or not?
Yeah.
Right, awesome.
Basically, everything's saved onto your mobile app or your computer, and you can have the high visibility or just low visibility with the static screen. So you can just basically sit at home and say, okay, what are they doing? What are they doing? So, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, another more generally used feature that is used out there is our Toast handhelds. You have an order and pay functionality, so you don't have to run back and forth to the till. And we've just incorporated Patronics loyalty. So basically now you scan your QR code and
from the handheld device as well. Awesome.
Yeah. And just basically you can do everything with the handheld. And what happened was we actually managed to cut a server per shift because before people would line up the till, wait at the till, write everything down. So now you can do everything on one device and you don't have to run back and forth to the tables.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, we plug into Patronics and we have that all done, so that's very interesting.
Yes,
which is also very cool. But I think having that opportunity to scan your wallet there and then, that's a game changer, isn't it? Just having it to because obviously before you'd have to either go up to a till and do it, or have a barcode reader somewhere.
Well, that's it. Other systems, the system that we had before, they suggested, all you have to do is either walk the customer to the till, use the scanner, or each server can have the app on their phone and you can kind of move the phones around with each other. And when I first started at the Noble Group, I saw the server say, oh, by the way, can I have your phone?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, okay, like that. And the customers are just like
are you doing?
completely shocked, saying, you know, like, is he gonna steal our phone? It's like, you know what I mean? Like there was such tension. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't really working very
It reminds me, I went to, like, I think New York about 5 years ago, and I went to one of the old school restaurants and I had a Monzo card, and the guy took my card away, and I'm holding it, and I wouldn't let go. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I don't, I need my card. Why are you taking it? I needed to put it through the machine. I was like, "What do you mean?" So he went away, and then he swiped it, and I didn't look at my phone. And obviously, Monzo, you can lock the Stripe card, right? The swipe. So I looked at my phone, and it had like 90 notifications, and the waiter came up and went, "I'm very sorry, sir. You have no money in your account. It failed." And I went, no. It's security. We don't use the swipe. We don't use this thing on the back. No one uses it. And he's like, "Oh, we have to swipe it." So I was like, "Go on, that's fine. Off you go." And he came back and he goes, "That worked this time. You must have money in your account now."
Oh. Meanwhile, everyone is around the table staring at you, saying, you know, like,
what happened? I transferred something. But okay, so yeah, I think loyalty is a massive. Everyone's talking about loyalty right now, and the challenge of doing it is hard. But if you have the opportunity of having it in your hand, I think one thing I have seen with lots of POS platforms and those handhelds is there's a fine line between giving someone, and then if someone's got lots of allergens, this poor server's doing this.
Yeah.
So I think that will obviously get better because it's easier to. Most people can type very quickly, but some I've been to and the guy's like still. My wife's like, you know, no garlic, no onions, no this, no gluten. So poor server is writing everything in. So I think that will obviously get quicker. But I think it's so much better because you can fire drinks away, right? You fire drinks away.
Oh yeah.
And off you go.
And in reality, like if it's set up properly, like for us, we have like an allergen prompt or whatever, and you can just be like.
Nice.
Gluten intolerant or whatever. So it's just one touch. You like.
So you don't actually have to write the notes. You can just pop up. Nice.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Getting it set up right. Okay. Next question. And we're going to go all the way back in time. And just from the beginning, like where did the love of tech come? Where did it start? Where did you first, get thrown into it? I want to hear the story. People don't know the story, and I've heard some of other stories, but I want to hear from the beginning. Let's go back.
Why? I was actually in Canada, where I'm from. I wanted to do computer technology from the get-go, but it just wasn't an easy area to get into. It was a bit new. So anyway, my father, when I did my first 2 years of university, and he said, "Son, okay, this is how your life is going to be. You're going to sit down with me at a desk right next to me, and you're going to basically learn all the business from me until I decide to retire, and then you can start living your life after I retire, which will probably be about 55, 60. And I nodded and said, "Oh, that's great. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father." And in the back of my head saying, "Good Lord, I have to get out of this." So what I did was I gave it a little bit of thought, and I came up with the great plan of teaching English in Japan. So I just...
that just plucked out your head or just...
No. I mean, at the time, the Japanese economy was going really well.
Yeah.
And I thought, learning Japanese would be a useful tool. And... I could get certified as a teacher of an English of a second language. I can't speak English, but it seems, yeah. So, I saved all my money, went to Japan, got a job teaching in a school, and then all of a sudden, 2 years later, I was back and ready to go back to school. And unfortunately, when I went back to university, they said, "You've been away for 2 years. You can't just jump in. You have to reapply." And I was like, "Oh." So because I did manage to pick up fairly fluent Japanese, are you
still fluent now, or rusty?
Well, a little bit rusty, I suppose. It's one of those things where you get a few drinks in me, and I'll be like, yoku wakaru yo, like that. I mean, I can speak. But back then I was almost at translator ability.
Wow.
So I got a job in Niagara Falls as a front desk translator. So I had a French phone, I had a Japanese phone, and basically I was checking people in.
Yeah. So growing up, you had to learn French.
Yeah.
By
I'm from
default,
Quebec,
right?
so it's
Because not everywhere in Canada you learn, right? But most places.
Yeah. I think most Canadians probably speak a little French, but if you're in Quebec, you do
Quebec's
need to
different.
speak
Yeah,
it.
I spoke to Aaron in Centivio, and he's like, when you're in Toronto, it's not so you can get away with it.
Yeah. It's quite funny when you're in Quebec. Like it's like 80% French, 20% English. But if anyone that like is considered like incomprehensible in Quebec, you go to Toronto and you're like completely fluent. So it's just one of these things. But yeah.
So you were French translator, Japanese.
Yeah, but it was quite funny because at the front desk it was always quite stressful, and so people would call and I'd forget what language I'm speaking. So I'm just like yelling Japanese at the French person, yelling French at the English person, like that, and I wasn't a great front desk person, let's put it that way. But at least it kind of set me on my journey. So from there, I decided that hospitality was the way to go. So I went.
Just a quick question, going back to that, because I talk a lot to other people about getting into hospitality, because you get to, obviously as a teacher, it's different. You get to meet people, but in hospitality, you get to meet such a wide range of people. And I think that, I used to do events as well, right? So before I did all this, and then through IT, but I think it grounds you slightly, because you've been obviously speaking to loads of people in different languages. Do you think that helped you in like general society to deal with general? Because some people in society, it's tough, right? Yep. It's tough. People are tough. They, there's no forgiveness because you're a hospitality. It's all about hospitality. Do you think that helped you, like, but like communicate better, understand people better in the industry from just being at that stage?
I think it taught me how to multitask. I think it made me realize that I do like people, but also too, you kind of deal with situations and kind of focus on the solution and go from there. Like it was a big help. It was even more. After I had finished my hospitality, I got recruited into Club Med, which is like
awesome.
So
that was like, a great. How did that happen?
Well, that's it. The school I went to hospitality in was based in Florida, and their office was in Florida. So, like after I was nearing graduation, speaking with different people, and they say, "We will send you to a singles village full of eligible young ladies, and we will make you a food and beverage a senior manager right away." And I was like, "Yep, sold." Like that. So I did that actually for like 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did all the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They sent me to Switzerland, like Mexico, and like Turks and Caicos, Bahamas for 2 years. Yeah, I was just jumping all over the place. But the thing is I really liked it. I did get to rise up in the company, but after a while, from there I left and worked with Radisson, and I found myself in Belize City of all places.
Belize?
Yeah, and the Belize is just a place that's run like cowboys. There's no IT support. There's no nothing. So the hotel I was in, the systems would just crash like constantly, and so they were paying somebody a big envelope full of cash every single time
from the safe.
Yeah, that's it. And he'd just take the money and be like, "Yeah, I fixed it. See you next month," like that. And the GM, I was trying to be like a GM at the time, and they're like, "We need somebody to learn this stuff because we're not paying this guy to visit every month and stuff." So I was just like, "Okay, fine." And Belize was a dangerous city like that. So basically, I couldn't really go out anywhere because it was just really dark and dangerous. So I'd sit
Lots
in.
of men with packs of cash in their pocket.
Yeah. So I just pulled out the manuals, and I don't know how big it was, but I think it was about 1,200 pages, and I'm like, page 1.
Oh my God!
2.
Wow!
And slowly but surely,
to be fair, you weren't going out, were you? So you had
no, that's it.
You had to pick up the time.
And the hotel was just robbing the company blind and stuff. And the thing is I'm like, okay, let me figure out how to get this working and stuff. So eventually, the company was Micros at the time said, we just want to know what system you've put in because you don't call us anymore. I'm like, I learned your system. And so
better than support, to be fair.
Yeah, and so I ended up getting hired away doing troubleshooting and installations.
What is it for Radisson or for Micros?
For Micros.
Oh, sweet. So
it was a third-party company. What I was essentially was my own contractor and stuff.
Nice.
So Micros would send me all over, and one of the first places that I worked for was the U.S. military. So basically,
this is where I heard a bit of this before. This sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean Club Med sounds awesome, but this sounds, awesome.
Well, that's it. They sent me to a couple of places in the States, and then I got the chance to go back to Japan. So, of course, when I hit Japan, I was using my Japanese, and all of a sudden I'm writing stuff on the board and talking in Japanese and training the systems. And the general of that base wrote an email saying, "Thank you for sending someone that knows the language." And of course, the people in Micros going, "What?
He knows language? We don't do that."
Because I never told them, eh? And then all of a sudden they're like, "Do you speak the language?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then they said, "Fine, this guy knows Asians. Leave him out there." And so they sent me to Korea, on the Top Gun bases. And I was so nervous because I said, "Sir, I don't speak Korean. I speak Japanese." And they're like, "It's all the same. Just go." Like that. So I went, and it was Top Gun. So they made me a colonel, like a civilian, I think it's like a GS-14.
I love that.
And so they were like, "Colonel Connors," like that. I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm working all the time, and I was had full access to the base. I was living with the Top Gun pilots, and so
wow.
there'd be lockers there, and it would say Joker and like Maverick and all these things, like whoever they were, and but they looked like 5'8" physics professors, they're not.
They weren't the slick back.
No. But that's it. Though I was kind of just looking at them, smiling. I'm like. I don't have a nickname, but I kind of like it.
I'm one of the team.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I can't fly, but
that's awesome. How long were you in the Top Gun base for?
I would go and spend about 2 weeks at each of the things. So I went to 2 Top Gun sites, so Kunsan and Osan.
Yeah.
And then I was a little bit into it, and they said, "You need to go to London," and I was like, "Okay." So I put in a week's worth of clothing, and they sent me out, and they're like, "Well, okay, now you need to stay." And it's like, "Well, how much longer?" And they say 3 months. And so you could have bent my clothing into different shapes by that point, because I just wore the same clothes day in and day out. And so they said,
so they sent you basically to different people in London. Were you doing the same thing, like the upgrades and
pretty much. That's it. So they were just sending me to hotels and doing stuff like that, fixing their stuff. And so I came back, and eventually I got the job of doing Oracle for Wembley Stadium and Arsenal Stadium and Everton. And
so at this point, had Oracle taken over? Or
no, I think it was still Micros and stuff. Yeah, it was quite funny because we went from being like a smallish company to wow, we're Oracle now. It's that was
global.
Pretty cool. But I can't remember exactly when that was, but it was a couple years into it.
That's amazing. And then, so what were the stadiums? What did you do with the stadiums? What was like a whole?
That's it.
You can't just say did stuff with the stadiums. You got to go.
Well, what's it? There was a while that they're really into these big installations and stuff. So Wembley was 1,800 tills, but it was 2 servers basically split out 900. And that actually never went through. They ended up switching to another system about a year later. And but Arsenal was the same thing. It was off 1 server. It was the biggest installation ever, for point of sale. And it was a really good experience and stuff. And then I did the Pizza Hut install for France, and so that was the big thing. But
I guess the French helped there as well then.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But I mean,
they're not always that friendly. I have a lot of people I know from who've lived there or been there. And some can be a bit frosty.
Oh, well, no, actually, they're so nice, but I suppose there's a difference between French from Paris and French from outside. Actually, they're all wonderful. If there's any French people out there,
we love you.
Yeah, thank you. I love you all. But no, they can be very demanding sometimes, but. It worked out well. Now when I vacation in France, I kind of realize how nice everyone is.
And then what was next?
Well, then 2009, what happened was the economy just stopped, and so Oracle said, "Look, we're laying people off. You're a contractor. We have to send you home because we have literally no work." And I said, "Okay, where do I go? What do I do? And they said, home, Canada, go, like that. And so at the time, I was dating my now wife and said, well, what do we do? Do we go to Canada? Do we stay here and stuff? So I took her to Canada. It's kind of like a fam trip, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, look around Montreal.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, well, that's it. And she goes, this is a brutalistic like city. This is ugly, like that. And I was like, I can't, like, because to me Montreal's a beautiful city,
Yes,
like
yeah.
that. So we said, okay, fine, we stay in London. So from there, we settled down, like got all our paperwork in place, and so I started working with QSR Automations, which does kitchen screens, and so that put me in
The
touch.
traditional first, never break.
Yeah.
QSR automations. We have them. We work with Big Easy. Big Easy. I've had them for years, and they just work. I mean,
Yes.
like the first ever, like from my memory, other than McDonald's and so on, but in it, the first ever company that only does kitchen screens.
Yeah,
And,
but that's it. They did the job, and yeah, it was kind of a time in technology where everybody was kind of adapting this speeded up service. So one of my main customers was Oaxaca, but I also was doing Jamie's Italian, and so they put the screens just above the flame grills, and so all the grills, all the screens, had this
Melt.
black blob over it, and it was literally cooking the screens, and the staff couldn't touch the screens because they were burning their fingers. So it's just like, okay, so we had to come up with an idea of circulating the air. So there was fans that was doing. I mean, it was the good thing about QSR.
Was it at Jamie's and at Oaxaca, or mainly at Jamie's?
No, Jamie. So Oaxaca never had the problem, but it was. There was never a dull moment because you'd have to put in a solution and then make it bespoke.
Yeah. I to be fair, we had a client who got them with Lightspeed, and they had a new site, put it all in, and it looked beautiful. And it was an Italian restaurant, and the chefs just didn't get it. They weren't used to it. They weren't eased into it. And it sat there. It's still sitting there in their kitchen, not used. Bless them. And they're like, yeah, does anyone want it? So I've actually asked some of our clients if they want to go grab it from them, because they've got some of the big screens. Beautiful install. But yeah, I mean, some of them. I mean, we've still got stuff running on really old, 12-inch touch screen with a little grey PC box behind it, and they're still going.
Yeah.
You know. So QSR is they were. They're still obviously big now, but I don't hear much from them at the moment because obviously everyone's building their own, right?
Well, that's it. I think they've got a real niche into kind of bolting on to kind of not necessarily obsolete, but limited systems. And they, as you say, they do a lot, and it's still successful.
It's a beefy platform, I guess, in the reporting you get. Okay, so then. Was it from there to Oaxaca?
Well, that's it. So, of course, when I started with QSR Automations, they're installing now Oracle. And they were just like, God, I'm so frustrated like that. And I'm like, well, I do have some experience in this. Do you mind if I fix your problem? And so I would always fix their problems. So then when I left QSR Automations, I was working for another till company that no longer exists. But we tried to bring in a whole bunch of developers and make a till system, which was a nice experience. But it was a bit doomed from the start like that. And so then Oaxaca calls and goes, would you like to be our first IT manager? And I was like, sure, yeah, sounds good. And so all of a sudden, I got back in, and Oaxaca.
How many sites did they have at that point?
They had 6.
Okay, nice.
And so we went from 6 to 9 within the first 3 weeks. Then
what? You went 6 to 9 in the first 3 weeks?
Yeah,
so basically they hired you and said, this is something's going to happen. We're not going to tell you yet, but tomorrow, once we start the contract, we're going to go all out. I love that.
Yeah, and that's it. We went from that to 16. Then we went all the way up to 29.
Wow, I didn't know it was 29.
Yeah, well, we had other brands. There's DF Tacos, which is still there. And we also had a Burrito Mama, which is gone. But once COVID hit, basically, I think they lost 12 restaurants. So they just went up and then they went down. And now, thankfully, they're going back up again.
Yeah, so our office used to be down the road from here on Charlotte Street. Yeah. So it's upsetting that they don't have Charlotte Street anymore. And Charlotte Street is a weird road because it's never always busy. And they've got some awesome restaurants there now. But typical IT, forget to have lunch. And at 2:30, look at my watch and go, I should have had lunch. So I'd run to because they had a taqueria on the side, right?
Yep.
So I'd run in, and they'd look at me and they go, "Same," and I'd be like, so, and they'd go, oh, we're checking on this away anyway. I'll just give you. And they made what I would say as a freaking torpedo,
Like a football.
It was amazing. It was really good flavour. They shoved everything. It was the biggest football you've ever seen. And I come back to the office and they go, you got it again, and I was like, yeah. And they gave me the nachos as well, because they'd scoop in and give you nachos, and I miss it. I really do miss it. It was awesome.
Someone somewhere, their ears are burning, just like, why is their food cost so off? You know, and it's like, well, that's it. Adam had his football today.
Yeah, every other day. It was amazing. So yeah, I mean, Oaxaca was great. Just a great brand. And how did you do that? What was that when you started? And you were like, okay, and then they threw three sites at you?
Oh, no. I mean, it was.
Or was that already in plan anyway?
It was already in plan. Like,
Nice.
I think what they did was they saw that they knew they were growing, and they're like, somebody needs to do this. And they literally said that it was the finance director that was having to kind of field all these problems, and like,
which is quite often, right? A lot of brands that we speak to when we get introduced on the IT side is the FD ends up doing everything.
Yep.
And then they're overloaded because they're just trying to run the business, but then IT gets thrown in their way. They might be a little bit techie, which leads me on to Katie Rose, which who you work with at Oaxaca, who's like the super genius brain, who's the only FD I know is still going and programming tills. Like she's amazing. Hi, Katie. She's a force to be reckoned with. And but yeah, it's interesting that lots of FDs are thrown into the IT space, right?
Yeah, and it's understandable. I mean, because the thing is IT costs money, and the finance director is the one with it and stuff. But I think more and more people kind of realize that if you want to actually get a return on investment, you should get someone from IT that can help lead you through, either full-time or part-time, like yourself as well.
Thank you. Little halos come up just then. So, question for you: they were all Micros, right?
Yes.
Oaxaca was Micros across the board. Awesome. And then DF Tacos was originally Tissot.
Oh yeah. If we DF Tacos was the experiment. So we went from Tissot to Tavalis to what do you call it? Vitamojo.
Yeah.
So Vitamojo.
So I had to tell you my experience. So when it first opened, because we were in Charlotte Street, and then I heard it open, and I was like, "There's one on Tomacourt Road. We gotta go." So we went, and this is when you had Tissot, and I turn up, and the customer education was really funny because it was, and I'll tell you a story in a minute that I talked to Tissot about. So I turn up, and then you had these key rings on the tables. So you'd unhook the key ring and it had the number, and then you'd walk up, and there'd be no one there by the tills. And the tills would be turned around, and they were like the first style self-service kiosk, which Tissot did a pretty good job of, to be fair. So I'm at this thing trying to figure out what I'm doing with the flow. And as I'm doing this, someone turns up, and because there's a queue coming, and they turn two tills around, and they're taking orders, which is really clever. And then we sit down, and the food was freaking awesome. I mean, it was so good. But when I had Nima from Tissot on, and I've known Tissot for a very long time. And I told him about the story when they had, I think it was called the Grill Shack, which was Richard Herring's place. And my friends are always late. Like if I'm having a dinner or a lunch, whatever, some of my friends always late. And they were the first people to create the pre-ordering app. So this is before anything, right? So I'd get there, I'd sit down, I'd walk up to the till, and I'd order what I want, choose my table number, sit down. And then I'd call, where are you? Oh, we're on the way. We're there, coming there. I said, just order it. Get the app now. And they're like, I've done an app. I was like, get the app. So they would order it, and you sit down. And a really nice piece of what they used to do is they had it's a bit like what Wingstop do. When you get your food, they come check on you. You had a red and a blue. Yeah. So, or red and green, I think it was. So if you sat down and everything was all good, and the waiter says everything okay, it was green, it was left there. And if it was red, the manager would walk around and immediately clock and come over to you and go, was everything okay with the food? No, I'll get you another one immediately. So that was really cool. Really glad in the beginning, which sort of teased me on really to order at table at Oaxaca with FlyPay, which was the first in its iteration. There was them and Cake App, which got bought by Amex. I'm showing my age now. And I have lots of memories of going to, because I'd have lunch meetings at Oaxaca. It was freaking awesome. It was so big and so quick, right? The speed of service in the restaurant itself was just
Well, I have to, like, it's in my mind now. I have to say it. Like, it's so interesting, like, how people deal with the adaptation of technology.
Yeah.
So in DF Tacos, when we opened, they actually put stickers on, like, to show.
I remember. Yeah. Where to go?
So, but you'd get customers coming in, and they, for some reason, they think that you must walk on each sticker. So you have people like that, like walking along, and it's like, dude, we're just trying to drag you to the kiosk. We don't like. There's no alarms going to come off if you don't touch. Well, of course, I didn't say anything, but I'm kind of like nodding, going, "Oh God, this is weird." So, but yeah, like with Oaxaca, we had an app, and the people that developed it, like the app and FlyPay, like they sold that business for like 35 million about 4 years after.
Yeah.
Like it kind of had different.
Well, they became the plumbing, right? I think it was Flight in the end, wasn't it? It became Flight,
Exactly.
and I remember speaking to them throughout it was Flight.io or something. I think they got the first IO domain, and I remember speaking to them, and they were basically saying, we don't want front end, we don't want front facing. I think they had like two left still using the app and stuff, and then they were like, the way forward is we want to be the plumbing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then who bought who bought them? Just Eat bought them? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it makes perfect sense. I think they probably decided they don't want to deal with the front end after dealing with Oaxaca so often like that.
What was the adoption like with the app? Because this is the beginning. This is the beginning of like scanning QR codes, people getting confused. This is way before even COVID. This is way before anyone even thought about order at table. It was like the beginning.
That was 2014.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, at the time we thought it was a huge success, and it in its time it was. Like, you had the app, but the thing is there was some critical, not necessarily flaws, but we kind of decided they were flaws after the fact. Like one of which is it took about 4 minutes to download the app, and so if you're in a place like where there was terrible Wi-Fi, and Oaxaca didn't have very good Wi-Fi because we just had dial-up.
Yeah.
So you'd have people like screaming, like, "Oh, I'm trying to get your app, and it's 10 minutes," like that. And, like so there. But the other thing too is we'd always have a struggle where you wouldn't be able to reliably know whether or not you've paid. So there was always this kind of like the server would kind of try and block you, like and they'd be like, "Did he pay? Did he pay?" Like that. And meanwhile, you'd have some customers like walking out saying, "I paid," and then it's like, "Did they pay?" No. And so like you'd have
Very
to like
clever.
kind of like pull them back. So it was a bit of like a little bit of a tricky thing, but
because I always thought at the beginning, like, because I'm not sure. I thought they had like a tablet with like on the side, didn't they?
Well, but it never quite worked. And like a lot of the times they'd be using the tablet for other things, like so it just it was a nice idea. It was a nice idea.
I will say that I did like, because they did. I think they bill splitting in the beginning, didn't they?
Yes.
So I like that. That bit I quite like with the whole, because if someone's got the app, you could split the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's it. It was good, but like all of a sudden, like it was there. It was just there, and we had like
whose idea was to, where did that come from? Was it
honestly, it was Mark Selby. Mark Selby is very forward thinking. He's the founder of Oaxaca, and it was his idea. I cannot take any kind of credit for that at all.
Well, you would have said, "No, I don't want it. Get it out."
Well, I mean, I was very interested, and I spent like all the time with FlyPay and stuff, and I kind of
broke it down.
Yeah. But once COVID hit, all of a sudden we actually FlyPay said, "We don't do this anymore. Get someone else." So it was okay, fine. So we went through a whole new process, and we finally settled on QuickServe, which does a fantastic product. And all of a sudden, the usage it was internet based, first of all. So no app, no nothing. It was much faster. The payments were far more reliable. So all of a sudden,
their product is QuickServe. Is. Hi to Nick Hucker. Who is a demon. Their product is, and I remember because before, I think just before COVID, with Market Halls, we were looking at, I think they ordered all tablets for each store to try and test it out. Obviously that didn't continue, but he told me a story actually. He said I don't remember, there's somewhere in America where this guy owns like 10 or 15 pizza shops and have their own drivers. So, and they called QuickServe and said, we want our own delivery and ordering app. And they go, "Yeah, that's fine, we have it." Now in that town, there's no Uber and Deliveroo or DoorDash, nothing. Because the owner from the pizza joints went, I'll tell you what, you can have it for nothing. You can share our drivers as long as it's not, whatever. And he told me that they actually use their local little app with loyalty and everything else. And the Uber and Deliveroo don't get, not Deliveroo, Uber and DoorDash don't get a look in. So it's really interesting on that sort of side. But their product, I mean, they've got a breadth of clients across.
Yes. Yeah, and also too, you can plug different things in. Like one of the things that was a bit of a surprise was 85% usage. Is just like, well, okay, I know that it was
85%.
85%, and it's like, how did we go from 17 to 85? Wow. And then it's like, asking around, and it's because the servers. We also plugged in feedback. So all the servers are like saying, yeah, please pay through the app and also give me a good review like that.
Nice.
And it's like, okay, actually, that's
so employee engagement. That's early doors of employee engagement as well.
Yeah, because with the feedback, it becomes employee recognition. So all of a sudden, like if the manager goes, Adam, 35 people said that you were great today. Like it's like, the server's like, oh, this is good. I'm getting recognition. I love it. So basically, when you have different systems that complement each other, the usage actually is twice as good.
Yeah, amazing. And also, if you've got good adoption, right?
Yeah.
I think because of the feedback method you had, the as you said, the service was like, hey, use this and give me it. And the service, I will say, the service was always fantastic at Oaxaca. That's one piece that is good. My youngest is like gluten and dairy and and they'd bring over like a kids. Back then it was a kids meal, but it was all perfectly for her. She can have everything. So they were amazing. So that's really interesting. And then after Oaxaca.
Popeye? After Oaxaca, I joined Popeyes, and
so was that when they were just looking to come here? Or
yes,
they were like on the first stages of we want to conquer the UK, because I think I saw something last week in one of the newsletters was like they're going to be at like 65 stores by the end of next year or something stupid. Yeah,
they just opened their 50th now, and believe me, nobody was ready for the popularity of Popeyes. Like they might say something like saying, "Oh yeah, we knew it all along," but no, they did not. Like we opened up the first restaurant in Stratford, and
was that a big? Was it because all the sites they're not tiny, they're pretty big. The sites, most of them.
Yeah, that's it. That one. It's just in a very high traffic area. It's in the food court.
The food hall. Yeah, the food court. Mm-hmm.
And I figure, okay, well, we knew that we had a few little bugs and stuff, but we said, okay, we'll open up. We'll have like a couple of hundred people. It should be fine, like that. And the first day of opening, there was like 3,000 people in line. It was a 3-hour wait just to order, and then after you order, it was another hour wait because
this is food court. I mean, they can only produce so much, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, also too, they hired like 16-year-olds. Like I never felt so old. They're just like, sir. Like that's like, oh god. And so all of a sudden they all quit. They all quit the first 2 days and stuff. So I showed up on the Monday going, I'm gonna play with the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna and I look back and the HR team are all breading chicken. The financial director is doing the fries, and they're like, Will, you're here. Get on the tills. I'm like, sure. Like that, and I loved it. I was just like that, and they're like, "God, you're good at the tills," like that. And I said, "Yeah, put me in for promotion." Like that. And but we had to operate.
And what was the tech stack? What were they using?
Oracle and Acrolec was the kiosks, and we had Mapel for the time and attendance and stuff. But it was just there was like.
Was that mainly because the US was like use this or?
No, actually, Popeyes wanted. They had their ready-made like in-house EPOS system ready to go, and they're like, we're not taking that. They picked Oracle because it's an international company, and so But what it was there was lots of little problems that probably in a regular restaurant could probably. One of the things was. When you had something go out of stock, it wouldn't update the kiosks. So for the next 3 months, there'd be the manager's like, "Well, we're out of shakes." Like that, just like that. It's like I'd have to interrupt my meeting and manually take the shakes out, and then it's like the shakes are back. And like, 1 moment, please, like that, and I'd put it in. It was a brutal time. But the thing is I made sure to stick through it and. did it for like what I thought was a respectable amount of time. But as soon
How long were you at Popeyes for?
Well, I was 15 months. But
Okay.
that's it.
From start, so how many sites did they have at the end of 15?
20.
Wow.
Yeah,
expensive.
but the thing is at the same time, they were trying to do like this, like modernization of systems in 120 Burger Kings in the Nordic countries, and
Because are they master franchisee?
well, that's it. The company I was working for, they just bought like all these Burger King sight unseen, and they were running these green and like black screens, like from the 90s.
Oh my God!
And it was in
yeah.
Norwegian, and every time that we're like, okay, we're going to install now, and they said, oh, by the way, you don't have any lease lines, and it'll take 6 months to get lease lines in because the lines that were in place were owned by the former till company.
Oh my God!
And it was just problem after problem after problem. It's like, oh God,
So during the 15 months, not only were you rolling out Popeyes, you were also dealing with the other.
Yes.
Wow. I
Like,
mean, how
building-
did you live? I mean, that is just. I mean, I'm busy on a day, but that is just.
Well,
crazy.
that's it. I was waking up I was waking up at like 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and I was doing the Norwegian till screens, managing their system. I was doing building the Oracle system
Wow.
and dealing with Popeye stuff. And I was like, and finally my wife kind of had an intervention. She came to me. She goes, "You're gonna die." And I'm just like, come on, like that. She goes, "No,
I can do
seriously."
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready for a challenge. And she's like, "You need to get another job. This is like,
Yeah, she
killing
probably
you."
never saw you. To be fair.
Well, that's it. Well, she did see me, but I was working from home a lot of the time. But I was like getting up at 5 in the morning, working until 8.
Wow.
And she just said,
That's dedication, William.
yeah.
That's dedication.
So, I mean, so I'm happy I did my time. But
Yeah.
when I joined the Noble Group, I kind of was like thinking, God, this is going to sound like I'm exaggerating. That's no exaggeration. But when I got to the Noble Group, they're like, look, we don't have any tech. We need some help. Basically, just go with a fresh slate. And we did a full review and said, okay, this is what we need. Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang. And it's been a wonderful experience so far.
I have to say, because leadership's changed as well, right? With Noble. So I think your leadership is obviously helped with that too, right? Because and now even more, you're being the brand is now, because the brand was never. I didn't know Noble Group was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Who's Noble Group? I had no idea. No idea that it was Angus. I had no idea it was Steak and Co. I had no idea it was linked to. And you got other stuff that they do as well. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing but it's nice now to know. I mean, to be fair, you are a little bit of a celebrity. I know you are very humble, but you are well known in Popeye's thing was crazy. Of what you do, and also you understand tech, which is important. So you have lots of IT managers that come in that don't understand tech, that want to just go in and do the blank canvas. So we have had other clients before who have bigger brands. IT guy comes in, I'm going to change everything to Micros because that's where I was last time. A month later, they're gone. And the next person comes in, and similar to what you're saying, come in, okay, let's do a review, let's do this, let's check. I have to say that one thing that pops out in my mind is what Chris Fletcher said to me was looking at your overview, your spidergram of everything. He goes, it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen, because it's all about plugging things in together. And if you can do, because then you give that to other people and they understand it. So if you give an example of a diagram to something and it's technical, people don't understand it. But I think what you've done, and I might share it if you're happy, to see people get it, because it's not IP addresses and and servers. It's this tech with that tech, that tech with that tech, and I think you've got the overview.
Well, that's it. I mean, one kind of feature that tied it all together was I had at least in my mind, a picture of somebody walking into the restaurant. So it's like, okay, you walk into the restaurant, now what? It's like, you make an order. Well, also, then you plug in the reservation. So how did they get to the restaurant in the first place? And then basically it goes to the tills, then it goes to the KDS, and then it goes to payment. And then it's like, how do you interact with the customer afterwards? And of
What
course,
was it like when someone says to you, just overview our tech? I mean, was that like a breath of fresh air?
Yes. Well, I mean, also, too, the thing is with Popeyes, it was like there was a lot of frustration, because there was times where there'd be so many problems. Like I didn't. This is something that I walked into. I didn't pick any of this.
Yeah.
Like that, and
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
well, I mean that's it. I mean they hired me because I was good at Oracle stuff and I had experience with Oaxaca and stuff. So yeah, it was a good fit. But the thing is I was like, if I could do it differently, how would it be done? And so I shouldn't, I can't take credit. There's a lot of people, especially like a new managing director came in for Noble Restaurants, who's now our CEO, Paul Saras. Good Lord, it's so helpful when you have someone that knows tech and understands tech and is willing to
and open, right? And open.
Yeah.
Which is a big change because you don't see people often at the top being open on adoption.
Yes.
So, question for you: if Popeyes had done like 7 sites rather than 20, do you think the journey would have been? You would have. I guess they would have learned if it was a slow roll.
No.
Or do you think it was still just gung ho?
No, I mean they had. I mean also too. What they did was they took decisions well before everything started, and it made sense at the time, and it probably still to some degree makes sense now. But they basically said we are going to jam this square peg into a round hole, whether you like it or not. So when there was a problem with the till system, it would be make everything a level 1, and everything was just. It was well intended, and in a way it's probably worked itself out. But it was just we're not going to take a step back. It's all
steam ahead.
All steam ahead. Yeah. Burn your ships. This is where we're at. And my direction was told, whoever screams loudest, fix their problem.
Yeah,
and
but you're not a screamer. So you're an emailer. So I reckon there was some probably stern emails from you, probably to certain people, most likely, because there's only so much you can do. You're a fixer. So I'm a fixer. I don't send stern emails. I'm like you. I'm like I'd write an email with a breakdown of exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, especially there, I was very much like, let's work together. Let's sing a song. Like that. But eventually, all the optimism in the world couldn't really fix.
Well,
the
you had a good intervention. So your
yes.
your missus was like, we need to do something, and that's nice actually because it's stressful. Especially with the growth, but you sort of lucked out, really. I mean, it's awesome, the flow into it. So then, what was it? When was the choice for toast? Because toast, it was new, right?
Yes, and it actually, the first thing that happened is the sites were saying, oh, the tills are all going offline, and the guest Wi-Fi is going offline, like that, and the reports are showing up all funny and stuff. So it's okay. In reality, what is the real problem? It's the networks.
Yeah.
The networks were 10 years old, and it's all
in a cupboard
up in the corner and stuff. So we said, fix the cabling. Then we said, okay, let's put in proper lease lines because dial-up just does not do it these days. And so then we were looking at the till system because the till system didn't have any integrations, and so they're
what was the till system back then?
What's if I say that? I think I'm gonna put them in a real bad position. But
we don't have to say it. We can skip past.
But it didn't do a good job. It didn't do anything. So what we did was,
it suited its purpose at the time. Well,
actually, no, because basically when you don't have a system that doesn't have any integrations and you run a stock report and a till report and
so you'll end up staff having to do loads more.
Well, that's it, because you spend all your time reconciling everything, they had non-integrated credit cards, non-integrated stock, non-integrated EPOS, and then they say, here's my 3 reports, here's my 3 different numbers. I know that we're probably about 30,000 off, but we have a huge finance team to reconcile it. And it's just you kind of look at it going, this is in So, but when we get Toast, Toast, all of a sudden it's a developed system.
But what was the choice? How did you meet? Where was because as I said, Toast was new. So
yes.
was it you going, oh, hold on, something's come to the country, or where was that Where did you know about it before they came here?
Well, I went to all the shows,
Yeah.
and so we looked at everyone, and so there were certain criteria that basically
your
was
list, right?
Yeah, so we made a complete comparison, and so if they didn't have integrations, they were ticked off. If there was very limited functionality, they were struck off. But then and anyone that's looking for a till system, what is this? I took all the features, kind of prioritized them, saying must have, nice to have, but the key thing is the credit cards. So you basically factor in the credit cards and the credit card payments. And so the first thing that the financial director says, we don't have a budget for a new till system. We just purchased a new till system 2 years ago. So doing the math, we said, okay, fine. We're doing $54 million a year. Our non-integrated credit cards, we're paying a monthly fee for, and we're paying 1.1%. The new ones we're paying I can't give the
you don't have to. It's okay.
But basically we said
better deal.
This will pay for everything
and time as well, time wise, right? So and also less time for the financial team, less time for the general manager. And I literally was at a client had a client meeting today who is still non-integrated. Yeah, and I was like, you could have no end of day reports. Yeah, and we talked about it a couple of years ago. We're in discussion. I was like, there's no discussion. You have a till system that can integrate. Yeah. Do it.
Well, that's it. All of a sudden, we put it before when we were trying to get the old till system working with our stock. They're like, oh, yeah, it's them. And then the other people are saying it's us.
Yeah, the passing blame, we love that.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's everything balances. And so now the conversation moves from we have no idea what we're doing to how many ketchups do we add to each thing? You get fine detail,
granular detail, right?
Yeah, and that's what you need. And the same thing, we introduced Tenzo, and so all of a sudden, in the palm of your hand, you've got the labor, you've got the stock, you've got the EPOS, so like that. And so all of a sudden,
and top level people can just open it up and have the dashboards and the custom dashboards. So I think that's a big thing for bringing it all together. Yeah. So I think Christian has probably been Tenzo, and he came on previous to you. I said to him that I think most people have mentioned him, and everyone's like, you can give me a month free now, and so on. But it's a great product, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's it. All of a sudden, when you start getting reliable numbers and when you start empowering your staff, it was great. You put Tenzo in the manager's hands, and they literally gain about 2 inches. Because I understand now. I understand.
Is Tenzo and Toast, is it live feed, or is it polled every 2 hours or something?
It's polled every 15 minutes, I think.
Wow.
It's pretty much live.
That's awesome. Because some podcast companies don't have the ability to do that, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah, a lot of companies, they'll do a poll at the end of the day and stuff. Yeah. But the thing is you want real time data. And going back to Oaxaca and stuff, it was so incredible. You'd get a Taylor Swift concert in, and you read the daily reports, and it's from over the hills the hordes came demanding tacos, and they literally would make these dramatic things, and in all honesty, yes, I used to read that going, oh, this is hilarious, but on the other hand, you read into it, it's God, that must have been really stressful. You know? So now with the added information, the staff knows, oh, okay, there's something in the area which is going to affect our sales. We need to staff appropriately. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the added options and the pulling of data for analyticals, whether you should be staffing X, Y, and Z. I think it's a really powerful tool. I think even some small businesses use it as well as larger businesses. I think it's a really good tool. So you put Toast in. Are we allowed to say what you're doing with Toast? It's happening now anyway, right? So Chotto Mate is going Toast. Yeah. And you have San Fran and Miami anyway, so they're out there, which is fairly easy, and Toronto. Are they already done?
They will be for this podcast because it's being installed on Monday and Wednesday. So Tavalis, terribly sorry. But yeah, by this point you'll be seeing that there's Toast. But the thing is Toast time and time again have reaffirmed why they bring quality for money and stuff. Yeah, our report's good. The all-in-one handhelds. All of a sudden, we cut our staff, and the staff that are remaining are happy because they got more tables, which means more tips.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I think it's interesting. There's a shift change because even before Toast were here, other platforms that are out there, other POS platforms out there, are all now doing payments. Yeah. And I think it's really nice to see the handheld device, the iPhone style device. I've always wanted, years ago, there was an EPOS company in Stockholm somewhere who basically duplicated the Apple device. It had exactly the same as iPhone, reader, Lightspeed have that sort of version. The Toast version is roughly the same. Others are out there, Dojo's doing their little one. So I think it's amazing to see what's happening with technology now, what you can do in your just palm of your hand. Yeah. If you look back in the day with the NCR order pads, which are these giant rubberized things that you could chuck against the wall, to where we are now, it's amazing. I mean, I don't know Dojo did a little video a little while ago, which I can't obviously talk about but it was the future of tech, what's happening and integrations and everything else. So I think we're in a really cool place now.
Well, I mean, for me, I get really excited about the loyalty aspect as well because, now, you just pull up a QR code and scan it, attach yourself to the check, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, Adam, you're a wine lover. Adam, your favorite restaurant is Piccadilly. All these things. If it was in Oaxaca, it'd be like, football burritos are Adam's favorite, But then you can actually use
the segmentation piece is really nice. Exactly. But I think it's interesting because normally the marketing person will tick off the loyalty side. There's obviously technical side on it, but you're also teed into that piece, which is really nice because you don't often have tech guys doing the loyalty and marketing piece that on the adoption and getting it set up. But it's actually really nice to see because obviously we've been emailing and Patronics have been great. There's lots of emails been going backwards and forwards. And it's really nice because your analytical brain is thinking functionally rather than a marketer who's like, oh yeah, let's get it, roll it out.
Well, that's it. Well, actually, I used to sit in on some of the meetings at Oaxaca, and one thing that Mark Selby said that used to kind of stick with me was they'd be like, how was the last promotion? And so the marketing team would be, we got 2,000 likes. And he goes, 2,000 likes. Can I fill my restaurant with likes? And it's like, no. Can I feed my family with likes like that? And they're like, no. Yeah. Like that. It's just like, I don't need likes. I need business. Like that. And so actually, I'm making him sound like he's a little bit, anyway. Sorry about that, Mark, anyway. But basically...
Listen, sometimes you have to be stern to marketing.
Yeah.
You have to be.
But the thing is you have to kind of understand that when you're in IT, you're into solutions.
Yes.
So
but hold on. There's general IT, and then there's a completely different bag, which is hospitality IT or hospitality tech. And you're right, there's so many different facets. So I think general IT is IT. So if you have an IT company, they just do IT. If you went to an IT company tomorrow who didn't know much about restaurants and started talking about what you're talking about, they'd be like, oh? Do you know what I mean? So I think specifically hospitality IT, it's big.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, also too, the thing is people are kind of more and more coming to understand that marketing has a definite role in the business, as does IT. But the thing is the two roles are coming more and more together because it's not so much as the what to do, but it's the how to do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I also think res, marketing and IT are all intertwined now.
Yes.
Because in the past, you'd always have res over there, doing their thing. You had marketing over there doing their thing, and then you have IT over there. And if you're clever, you'll bring it all together into one. And Jane, not Chotto, hi Jane, she's amazing. She is. Gets it, understands it, totally understands all of Seven Rooms, how that platform works. She's a machine, and awesome. So I think if you can have a team that work together, I think that's really important on any brand.
Yeah, and that's it. That's coming back to the whole idea of the mind map and stuff, where you basically look at each department and how everything interacts. And there's a lot of times where you're kind of like, oh, you're looking at this. Well, this other program does this as well. So right now we've got two systems doing the same thing, and we're paying for two systems. So let's just put in one, and everything will work a lot better. And
How do you find, because there's been a couple of other people talking about change management and adoption and so on. How do you find that? Because depending on the venue and the brand, sometimes it's hard to just roll out. I mean, running a whole new tool system, bearing in mind you had good support probably from Toast, it's big. So how is that on the adoption side? It's challenging because there's operationally stuff. It's a lot.
It is. And honestly, I can't sit here and say that everything has been completely successful. It's a journey. But the thing is you have to get very stuck in and have to listen to everybody. You have to be a bit agile. Yeah. Because if something isn't a proper fit, they will tell you. And they will tell you again.
But you want them to tell you, right? That's the thing. Lots of GMs you'll go into. I find that operations manager will sit on the top. Yep. And we get a phone call. Oh, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll let ops know. And they're like, how long has that been happening? 3 weeks? Yeah. It's because sometimes they just won't. They'll be like, they get on with it. They're grafters. They get on with it. They get on with it. And when it really is a problem, they'll do it. So I think communication is a big tip and a big tool in this.
One thing that's quite nice is a lot of our restaurants are within a 5-minute walk of each other. So you can kind of just go from restaurant to restaurant and you see the same problem at every site. And also, too, it makes it a lot easier to actually experience the product yourself, because there's sometimes you walk in and you're like, okay, I can see it's not working. Whereas if you're not visiting the sites, you're kind of like, it's obviously something they're not
user
doing.
User error.
Yeah, but
I think you lucked out. You definitely lucked out with that. Except for obviously San Francisco and Miami. But
I mean, but even then though, when you walk into into a restaurant and the systems aren't working as expected, it's a very humbling experience because you have to kind of take it on the chin and say, okay, let's fix this.
Yeah, but at least you are. Yeah. There's lots of people that just go in and, well, this is because of user error. So it's good to see the visibility. Okay, we're coming to the end. I thank you so much for all of this. But there's questions. So we've touched on loyalty anyway. So and we talked about Patronics, which is really interesting. Is that now live across the group? Or nearly?
Actually, it's all ready to go. It's tested. But
I want to collect my points.
Well, that's it. We're just waiting for Paul to get back from annual leave, the CEO. And also we're going to do a proper communication to everyone. But right now, actually, we're just doing a test within the office and with the friends and families just to make sure.
Of course.
But then we'll do a proper communication to the rest of the world. And you'll see it's a good product.
Yeah. And then I've recently seen a couple of your posts about the menu screens as well.
Yes.
How's that been?
That has been wonderful. It's quite funny because
the touchscreen as well, right? So they're interactive.
Yeah, and because with the touchscreen capacity, you can just add more and more things to it. So we're linking it to web pages. We're trying to make it multilingual.
A quick question: are they tracking all the buttons pressing as well?
We could, but it's just further down the list or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many different things we could try, and also too, it's quite funny because the supplier is saying, the screens are bulletproof and scratch resistant and stuff, and I'm just like, don't jinx it, because they're great.
I like them. They're really cool because back in the day, having a generic menu is great. Yeah. Great generic menu on there, but to have something that and where the locations are as well, even if someone's walking past, it can sort of tease them in a little bit.
Yeah.
So are you doing a video as well as menu as well as other stuff on there?
Yeah, that's it. We're doing videos. We're doing web links. We're working on the multilingual. There's
awesome.
Lots of different things linking all the menus of breakfast, kids, whatever.
Yeah.
The next thing that we can put in and we haven't put in is proximity sensors. So basically, it'll have a little camera and it'll walk by and be like, "Hello, Adam."
I love that.
And so it'll draw you in, which is it's an add-on which should be ready very shortly.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I really like that, actually. It's a nice touch, really. Just makes it a bit more personable, especially that proximity. Yeah. Okay, so we're sort of at the end. We've got a few more questions, but they're just the generic ones. So I really appreciate you coming. This has been really insightful. Your story is awesome. My story is interesting, but your story is freaking awesome. So I'm really excited to post this when it comes out. So let's talk about the ending questions. So we have the standard question, which is best burger.
I would have to say patty and bun. It's one of these burgers that you feel shame after eating it, but it tastes so good and you get it all over your face. But it's a big, thick burger, which I.
So is it the Arigold, which is the standard?
Yeah, that's right up my alley.
Okay, so let's talk about best restaurant. And people have done a few because they like, but best restaurant.
My wife and I just went to Rioja for 2 days, and we went to the mountains and stuff. But there was this restaurant that was really big on Instagram. I can't quite remember the name of it, but it's in Navarra. And so basically it was this one grandmother that put all these dishes on the bar. And there was kids outside playing. And it was just okay, I can understand the Spanish vibe now and stuff. But each of the dishes, it was quite funny because she's you have to try my sardines. Oh, yeah, my anchovies, like that. I'm yeah, I'll give them a try. And I'm eating it. And I found myself flirting with this grandmother because she was serving such delicious food, and the wine was amazing because it comes from a mile away.
Yeah.
And I've eaten in thousands of restaurants, and that one still sticks in my mind just because it was just so delicious. But it's the atmosphere and the culture and everything.
Probably the theatre as well, I guess, isn't it? And that sort of stuff. Awesome. Okay, best hotel.
Best hotel, there's a hotel in the British West Indies. What's it? I believe it's the Rosewood Little Dicks Bay. Yeah, I was installing Oracle way back when. I think it was 2007.
Yeah.
But they've got pictures of the royal family
oh wow.
Ball.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had an indoor shower and an outdoor shower, and they put 20 bottles of different Kiehl's products on the table, and each day I would just wipe them and put it in my bag, and there'd be 20 more bottles. And yes, I fixed their system, but I came back with
is that part of the group, the Rosewood group as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
but it was the most gorgeous hotel, and of course there'd be this $1 million yacht come in, then it just got a little bit too close to your like that, and it's crushing all the coral. But it was, I think the rooms, they had to put me up in a room because I was fixing their systems, but I think the room was about $1,200 a night.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a nice room, I have to say.
That was a good experience. Okay, we are at the end. We have 2 questions for the next guest. And the next guest could be someone in ops and operations, in marketing, who knows? We've got lots of people coming in. So what are your 2 questions for the next guest?
Well, the Noble Group has some interns, which I think is a great way of passing on knowledge. So what I would ask the next person is what type of internship would you give to somebody in the hospitality business, and what would you do as their curriculum?
I like that. That's really good. And then the second question.
I would say, what is, in your mind, the next big thing, to hit the industry? So I know for hospitality, I'm looking forward to open banking or direct banking because the UK is investing a lot of money into it, and you basically bypass the credit cards. So I went off on a tangent, but it's I'd like to see what your next guest feels is the next big thing on the market.
Have you seen Atoa?
Yes.
So that's basically using that technology, coming with more integrations. But I think that's really cool. We had a client using it before they moved to Toast, because now they're with Toast. But it was really nice because they used some education. So as you opened up the bill, it was look, we're a small company. Yep. We're a big believer in looking after blah, blah, blah. This reduces our fee and so on. And they had actually some nice adoption. It was just scan a QR code, pay the bill, boom, into the banking app and done.
Well, a lot of hospitality brands, they just kind of take for granted that the costs are the costs. And so for the Noble Group, for the 9 restaurants for the original brands, that when we were doing the thing, they were doing 52 million in sales. So they're basically spending $560,000 a year on credit card fees. So imagine what you could do if you could just bypass the credit cards.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Atoa needs to plug into Toast.
Yes. I mean, it's good to see where it goes. But the thing is
I think it needs to be a bit easier. And I think it's not easy. I think the education needs to be better, because if you're explaining to the customer, because some people are a bit freaking out, why is my bank app opening? But I top up. I've got a Monzo card and my kid uses. So I just top that up. It comes out of it, and opens a bank app and goes back in. So I think more people are using it generally now, like Revolut and stuff, when you're sending people, more people are using. So I think as that gets adopted more, I think it would be interesting to see how that works.
Well, that's it. I mean, the thing is there's new and exciting technology all the time, and you just have to remember to go with the flow and adapt to the market, both customer tastes and also the technical
And make sure it goes
advancements.
into your big little chart.
Yes, well, that always helps. But yeah, like believe me, I'll probably kick down the sandcastle about 4 or 5 times over and over again, because you'll never get a system that will be timeless. It'll always be changing.
Yeah, but you want that as well, right? You want changing. Okay, we have come to the. I really appreciate. I'm going to give you a bit of a round of applause. So I appreciate you for coming. Thank you very much. This is episode 13. This is William Connors. Wave goodbye.